In this podcast episode, let's talk about having a short term strategy versus a long term strategy and how that can affect your business. This is the Detailing Business Class Podcast. And welcome back to another podcast episode. We're going to have I think a short one on this one, but typically when I say that, it ends up being long. Anyhow, we're going to talk about kind of a high level overview of I don't know if it's a mindset or framework that you need to have when you're thinking about growing your business. And I'll give you an example with football to kind of illustrate what I mean. And again, I really don't want to say this is like practical, like you're going to go out and implement it, but usually the things that are more strategic, high level have a bigger impact than the tactical things, right? Like if I tell you go run a mile to lose weight, you're like, okay, but if I explain to you what cardio does and how that affects you losing weight, that is more impactful because you get a better understanding of what the relation between cardio and losing weight is versus just running a mile, if that makes sense. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with this episode. Again, I have my iPad right here. I have my notes pulled up, and then I'll expand as I talk. Let me confirm that the Rodecaster is actually running. Okay, so the first thing I want, and I kind of talked about this in the last episode where I talked with Caesar, with our business talk, where it was, we had a brief little moment of what it means to be desperate in your business and the type of thinking that comes along with that type of mindset. So one, it was a good podcast. Go give it a listen. But then as a recap is if you're in a state of where you're desperate for business, you're desperate to get customers, you're like, hey, I need this to work right now. That's a bad framework to be from because it doesn't give you any clarity. Every decision that you make and everything that you execute on or plan to execute has that mentality of like, hey, this has to work out. Like it has to work out today or I'm not going to make, next payroll, or I'm not going to be able to cover rent, or I'm not going to be able to cover the van payment, whatever the case may be. So just for those that don't know much about football, American football, not like soccer, is we're going to talk about Hail Mary. So a Hail Mary pass is a very long forward pass in American football, typically made in desperation with an exceptionally small chance of achieving a completion. So basically, it's maybe the last quarter, last play, last few seconds, and you're down by however many points, but you need a touchdown to either tie or win it. And everyone runs straight up, and then the quarterback just going to eat it, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 yards and hope someone catches it, right? So it's for the most part, Hail Marys are kind of associated to like a last-ditch play, like just run out there, throw it, hopefully someone catches it, right? So with that directly corresponds to how a lot of people run their business, where it's like, and not just detailers, right? But like I've seen many businesses where it's like, hey, look, I have $5,000, right? Can we run that in ads? And if we run this in ads, it's gonna work, right? Like I'm gonna get customers. This is gonna help us. This is gonna make us more money, right? Because I need more money right now. And when you have someone with that type of mindset, it's like it's very, very difficult to think strategically or to plan strategically or to set up things in a proper way, because like the buffer to plan, to execute, to make mistakes, to iterate, to kind of optimize, it is like this big because they need that to perform now. They need it to work now. And so it's like if you want to run ads and you haven't had customers, or you've tried Yelp and you've tried Facebook and you've tried Google and you've tried YouTube, and it's okay, well, now let me try Instagram ads. Okay, here's $300. Let's go do that. And you're just like, okay, well, if that doesn't work, I'm gonna go somewhere else now. And it just like it really fogs up your mental clarity, and it doesn't let you think big picture, right? So like with SEO, search engine optimization, right? When you rank your website on the first page of Google, that's a long-term play, right? There's no immediate results. There's nothing that happens right now. There's nothing that just, oh snap, I clicked this button and now we're getting so much more lead and traffic. That's not what SEO is. So if someone comes to me, and I don't refer to this just as detailers. When I used to work at agencies and such, like marketing agencies, you would see the exact same thing where the owner of the business is like, hey, how long is that going to take though? No, I need results like by the end of this month because we need to, cover whatever. So with like, if you wanted to run, or someone came to me saying like, hey, I want to, do marketing, what options are there, right? Based on their budget, their needs, or whatever. It's like, well, you don't have the biggest budget. So, if you run 300, $500 a month on ads, like it's something, but based on the size of your business and the goal you're trying to hit, like that's not enough, right? So then, okay, maybe not ads or maybe ads, but don't think anything's going to change from that. Like it's not going to be the silver bullet. And then, well, SEO is just, you can optimize your website. And it's like, okay, well, how long does that take? It's like that could take, 6 to 9, 12 months. Like, no. I need something like in 2 months, I need everything changed. And it's like, how do you expect anyone to work with that, right? With a limited budget, with limited resources, with such a small, short time frame. It's like, how do you want anything drastic to change, right? And, there's going to be times where you are caught in in a tight bunch, if you may, where it's like something needs to happen right now. And don't get me wrong, I've been in there. Many of you have been in there because it's a part of being in business. But there is a distinct difference when I'm in that mind frame of like I need something to happen right now. Like I can't wait 3 weeks. Like this has to take action now. Versus when it is with that thoughtful mind of like, oh no, like we're planning 6 months ahead, we're planning 18 months ahead. So I'm not rushing these decisions, or I'm not like, I'm not rushing to get to this point because it's well in advance planned. Like there's a big difference between those two. Even with this podcast, like if we need to upload this on Thursday, and it's Thursday morning at 7 a.m. and I don't have the video, I don't have my notes, I don't have Alex here helping me, I don't have anything, right? And that means I have to plan the content, shoot the content, edit the content, publish a YouTube video, publish a reel, send an email, send it to my story, upload it to the. If I have to do all that in one day, my level of action or the type of action that I take and the mental clarity that I have from 7 to 9 a.m. is much different than if I were to have that podcast shot and edited by Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I'm able to do a little bit of prep. And then Thursday, I finish off the prep. Like it's a different type of mindset of like how you're acting on what has to get done, right? And this should be no surprise. Like just look back at anything when you have enough time or when you're in a good situation versus when you're in a bad situation. Like you're not the same person, right? I mean, you are, but you get the point where the way you look at things and the way you act on things are different because you need it to happen right now versus there's no rush, or at least like there's no immediate deadline that I have to meet. So, so many detailers look at their business and marketing with this type of mentality. And, one, it could be like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? As far as like maybe you just started your business and you want things to happen now, you want to get results now. So like you're in that rush process of like, no, like I want customers, which is fine. But there, like to whatever you do in your business with marketing, there is even if you're running ads, right, with a $1,000 per month budget, a $2,000 per month budget, you still have to have patience for it, right? So if search engine optimization, let's say it takes 6 months to get results, right, to rank your website on the first page of Google. But with ads, you can pay Facebook or Google and Instagram, and those immediately display your ads to potential customers. Now, from the first month, it doesn't mean that your money is just working flawlessly. It doesn't mean those campaigns are optimized. You're getting data. You might be getting a few leads here and there, but your ad campaign won't be as good as it will be on the third month until you start getting all that data, until you start making those adjustments, and so you start optimizing that campaign to really perform how you want it to perform, right? So even when you're putting $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, you're still going to go through that process of, oh, wait, you got to give it time. It has to go out there and get the data. It has to go out there and just let the campaign run and see what the numbers are. And after, 3 weeks, after a month, we can go in there and make minor adjustments to try to get better results. So even when you're running ads, like there's still a big portion of like, hey, it takes time though. Like you got to give it time. And it's hard sometimes. I know it's very, very hard to have that mentality of like, well, it needs to happen now. Like my finances, like I hate my job, or I can't wait because it's like and trust me, I understand because I've been in those situations as well. But the cold hard truth is like no matter what you do, it's gonna take time. That doesn't mean you can't work fast and can't execute fast in a faster fashion to get to the results that you want to do. But regardless, there is gonna be that big factor of like, hey, it still takes time though. Like spending $1,500 a month versus $300 a month, it's a pretty big difference. And spending $1,500 a month in ads versus $300 a month in ads will get you more data, faster data, and you can kind of tweak and optimize that data faster than if you're just spending $300 a month. So for sure, like if you have more funds, that is going to help. But they're still going to be like, hey, yeah, but whether you're spending 300 or 1500, you still have to wait and see what the data tells you. You have to still let it go out there and collect the data. And not every dollar is going to be like, a positive ROI. Like some of that is going to be wasted. Whether it's 300, whether it's 1500, some of that is still going to be wasted because it's just that's the nature of marketing and like trying to understand what is or what's not working. So last note here is running Google Ads fantastic and can definitely help, but it'll only help you so much if you don't have everything else optimized around it. So maybe I was talking too fast. So basically on this one, on the last one, is if you're running ads, or and not just ads though, but anything like SEO, YouTube, like just posting on YouTube organically, Instagram organic, anything like that. It's like that. It's still just one part of the process, right? So for instance, you might be saying, well, I need to run the ad. Like that's what I need more. I need more phone calls. I need more leads. I need more email inquiries. It's like that is definitely a big portion of the process, right? If your business isn't in a good state and you want to improve it, getting more leads typically does work, right? Because if you have 5 leads per week and you up it up to 15 leads per week, yeah, you're going to get more customers and make more money, right? Sure, of course. But it doesn't always, that's not always, actually, that's not always, not one thing is ever just a fix, right? So if you're running ads, let's say, and you are running Facebook ad or whatever, Instagram, it doesn't matter, but you're running ads and you get people calling you for your services and people are calling, people are emailing you, but you're not converting that many of the leads. Now, do you say, "Oh, wait, what's wrong with the leads? Why aren't they booking in? Like, I got 20 leads and I only booked 1." So it's like, yes, it could 100% be the optimization, right? It could be the campaign itself not being targeted correctly, not spent correctly. There could just be some inefficiencies in the ad campaign, right? Or the other big factor to it is like, how are your customer experience skills? How is your customer service? How are your sales skills, right? Once they get in the door, aka give you a call or send you an email, like, do you have the proper processes in place to make sure you're capitalizing on that opportunity? Right? It's like, oh man, but out of the 20 leads, only 1 booked. And it's like you took a day and a half to respond to every lead. Or the phone calls that came in, like you answered them with like a rude attitude, or you didn't properly explain or educate the customer and why they should go with this service over that service, right? Like it's not just about, oh, well, marketing and more leads. Like that's a big part of it. But once it gets to like, hey, the phone call, the email, like that's not, it is a form of marketing, but like it's a different level of effort now, right? So like, you can get someone to your front door, right? Like to a restaurant. But it's like, okay, so how's the ambiance of the restaurant? How are the waiters and waitresses? How's the menu looking, right? How's the presentation of everything? Is everything set in place? Is everything optimized to make sure that we are capitalizing on the entire experience of this potential customer, right? So it's like, that's why I go back. It's very hard to make important, impactful decisions when you have the short-term type of mindset, because it fogs up your decision making. Like you just cannot think clearly when you have this like desperation of like, it has to work right now. And you might be saying, well, Oscar, like this is my business, like this is what I do, like it's not working out. What do I do? And to me, like one thing I've recommended all the time is like, to me, I don't have an ego to myself of like, oh no, but I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm not going back to a day job. I've had plenty of day jobs, jobs while I was working and building the detailing business. Like I never had a problem with that. Like I when I was, I don't know, I can't even tell the age, like 20 years old or something, when I quit my jobs to go focus on my detailing business, and then that didn't work out. So I went to go get another job, and then I continued to work on my detailing business. And it's like, look, if your business isn't working out and you're just, you're having a hard time paying finances, your life is kind of narrowing down because you don't have the money for it. Like things are happening. It's like, well, maybe you should just go get a job, like, not that it's like, oh, what a job, but no, I'm an entrepreneur. It's like, look, I don't have an ego, like if that's what I need right now to help me with the finances, to help me get some more mental clarity, to help and lessen some of that burden on me, like financial burden, if that's what makes sense, that's what makes sense at this current time in order for me to like get back on my feet, right? Because like, again, if you have a day job right now and you are making steady income and you have not even like disposable income like to that degree, but it's like you just have a steady check coming in, that in itself plays a big role into how you're able to operate your business, right? Even having a little bit of extra cash to put into your business is completely different than someone that's like clawing, trying to get out of debt or like barely making it by to pay their bills, right? So like when you're thinking about your business right now, or when you're working in your business, just ask yourself like, what state of mind am I in, right? These decisions that I'm making, like, are these very short term? Are these very like, hey, I need it to happen now? And like when it comes to finances, and you're running your own business, like there's no one else. Like you can say, and like, hey, I'll go get a loan, but it's like that's not a good idea ever, right? If you're not making money now and you go pull a loan for whatever, $15,000, it's like, are you just not going to pay off that $15,000, or are you just like, is it a sinking ship that you don't, it's going to happen regardless? So it's not to be like a Debbie Downer of like, oh, so you're not saying people should follow their dreams. It's like, no, just you got to be realistic with what you're doing. Like if things are not working as they are intended right now, and the best thing for you to do to help you with your mental clarity, to help you to have like to kind of remove some of that financial burden, to help you just kind of have a life again, if that means getting a job part time, it's like, what's the problem with that? Just because I've been through that as well. So it's like it's no problem if you kind of fit in that, if that criteria kind of fits what's kind of happening in your situation. So think about what you're doing in your business right now. What kind of actions are you taking? Is it short term based or is it long term based, right? Because you can still move fast. You can still do a lot of things like quick and still have that long term strategy, right? It's a what is it? It's micro action but macro patience, right? Day by day, you're working and hustling and moving as fast as you can. But over a 9-year months plan, it's like, okay, but I know things are going to take time, right? So just ask yourself, what kind of action are you taking? What kind of business do you have right now? And it's like it's a big difference, because I've been in there countless times between like a short term kind of based action and long term based actions, and it's a night and day difference. So I'll go ahead and wrap it right here because I don't want to make this one too long, as the last one is almost 30 minutes. So this one I'll kind of keep it a little shorter. So if you want to download the ultimate guide to start your detailing business, it has over 10,000 words on helping you start and grow your business. You can check the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can check the description box down below. And then you can also check other links like the like my second YouTube channel, the Proper Care channel. You can follow me on Instagram, which is @DetailGroove. And anything else will be in the description box down below. Or if you're on the audio, just check the show notes. Other than that, thank you very much, and I'll talk to everyone on the next one. Bye-bye.